Why are some of your favorite brands from countries around the world experiencing higher prices? The answer to that question is probably tariffs. Hi, I'm Caden Evans, and I'm with Political Legal Team 13, and I'm with Juan, Alexandra, Juan, and Christopher. And today we're here to talk to you about trade tariffs and Adidas and what exactly tariffs are and how they're affecting Adidas on a global scale. So, to summarize what's going on with Adidas, they currently have it where 92% of the products that they make come from Asia in regions like China, Vietnam, and Indonesia. And due to all these products being made in Asia, they face high vulnerability to things like tariffs and trade policies and geopolitical tensions. And with the changing of U.S. trade rules under the Trump administration, it's made it difficult for Adidas to both forecast costs and plan a long term strategy. And then there's more recent events, such as conflicts in the Middle East, that's resulting in global instability, not only resulting in store closures, but disruptions for the overall business. But to break down a little further what's going on exactly on the tariff end of things, the United States tariffs has resulted in 400 million euros that Adidas has lost. Key affected countries would be Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. And with these different countries, they face different rates of tariffs, to where Vietnam is facing a 46% tariff, Cambodia 49%, and China in some cases even as high as 100%. Now, the impact is that there's both a higher production and import cost for Adidas side, resulting in an increased retail price that is passed on to the consumer, but simultaneously also affecting their profit margins and creating a higher supply chain uncertainty. Now, the key takeaway we can take from this is that due to the tariffs and their reliance on Asia, Adidas has overall faced a higher cost of business with lower profits and rising prices for the consumer, ultimately hurting their industry.
So why this is a major risk for Adidas? Well, there are several reasons why. The first one is highly supply chain concentration. 92% of Adidas production are manufactured in Asia, making the company highly exposed to trade policy changes. The tariffs increase the production cost. US tariffs on countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, and China significantly raise import costs. And finally, the business impact. Higher costs force Adidas to either raise retail prices or accept lower profit margins, reducing competitiveness and consumer demand. Here are some graphs about the Adidas production by country. So as you can see, mostly all the Asian countries are the major manufacturers of Adidas products. So, for example, in footwear, we can see Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. Up here, we have Cambodia, Vietnam, and China, and finally, accessory and gear, we have Turkey, China, among others. So now let's continue on the presentation.
Hello, this is Christopher Rogero, and I'm doing my portion of our video presentation. The objective here is to reduce exposure to tariffs and stabilize costs by restructuring our supply chain. To do this, Adidas should expand regional sourcing and partial production in Latin America. This would reduce its heavy reliance on Asia, where nearly 92% of our production currently occurs. This shift lowers import duties, improves flexibility, and allows Adidas to respond more effectively to changing trade policies. Ultimately, this strategy reduces overall landed costs, protects profit margins, and strengthens Adidas' ability to compete in a high tariff market. Now in this slide, we're going to be going over the objective, which is to position Adidas as a leader in managing global trade risk, while maintaining long-term competitiveness. To achieve this, Adidas should implement a regulatory intelligence system to monitor tariffs and trade policies in real time, allowing the company to proactively adjust sourcing and pricing strategies. Compared to competitors like Nike and Puma, Adidas has the scale to execute this more effectively and create a stronger global advantage. The approach reduces risk, stabilizes margins, and ensures Adidas remains competitive in an increasingly volatile global trade environment. Now we're going to be finishing off this presentation.
So to sum up, tariffs and trade policies are a major risk for Adidas. The company depends a lot on production in Asia, which makes it very sensitive to changes in a global trade. When tariffs increase, production and import costs also go up. This leads to higher prices for customers and lower profit margins for the company. As a result, Adidas may lose its ability to compete in important markets. To reduce this risk, Adidas should change its supply chain strategy by producing more in different regions and not relying so much on Asia. This would help the company lower costs, reduce risk, and respond better to global changes. In the long term, these actions can help Adidas stay strong and keep a good position in the global market. So yeah, that's all from our side. Thank you for listening.